Hi everyone, this is Rolling Through Negotiations, episode 101, and we're recording this one in September 2025. I'm Matthew Karakoulakis, your host here at Rolling Through Negotiations. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the podcast. If you're a returning listener, one of our tribe, you're a legend, love having you here. Our guest today is amazing. He goes out there, he works with kids. He works with kids in the education space, delivering programs that bring cultural awareness within education environment. So that way, school kids can understand, can embrace, be empowered by Aboriginal culture from such young ages. Our guest today is Wotjobaluk man, Cameron Morrall. You're going to love this episode. We're going to jump into it. Before we do, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of these lands. Let's pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I'd also like to acknowledge the Kaurna peoples whose lands we're recording this episode from. Let's roll. Cameron, welcome to Rolling Through Negotiations, brother.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
It's so good to have you here, and I'm pumped to hear your perspective when it comes to negotiating with kids, because you do a lot of workshops shaping kids' minds when it comes to Aboriginal culture and helping them understand cultural principles through the workshops that you do. How do you influence and negotiate with kids so that they can understand something that is so important and powerful as culture?
So the way we do it, because our programs, so it's broken down into sort of 3 stages, and we want to teach this culture, our beautiful culture, in a fun way, which is going to engage with the kids. Even the educators in the room, they're actually learning themselves. We break the program down. We do some storytelling for the kids. We know they love that. And then the second part of it could be about music, could be a fun game, could be activity that we do. And then the last part is always an art activity, so arts and crafts. So, I did say they might love every part of the storytelling, but some kids don't. Some kids can't sit there and engage with it, but they might love the second part of the program or the last part of the program, and everything's based around the Aboriginal culture. So the storybook's going to be a beautiful culture. I do write some of my books myself. Others I have used a lot of Adam Good's books. I reckon they're fantastic, very engaging with the kids. And then, the activities of games. So we create the whole program. So everything's all ours. The activity, there's lots of fun games that we create. Could be using beanbags. There are traditional games, even from Torres Strait Islands. So there's a game called Collop, and the Collop is a seed. And what they used to do is have to throw the seed inside a circle, and whoever got in the circle, the closest to the circle, is the winner. Instead of that, we use beanbags and buckets. Kids love it. It's very competitive. They get right into it. And then arts and crafts, it could be simple as colouring in a picture which I've created myself. It's usually animals. All my language I use in the program, and our subcontractors that we have, I really encourage them to use their traditions. So the stuff that they've learnt themselves, their language as well. It helps them learn more about their culture, but it also gives them that sort of comfort using their own traditions instead of trying to teach mine. So it's something different everywhere around Victoria. And then arts and crafts is always fun. Kids always love it. So colouring in, we could be using air dry clay, sticking things together using glue, using scissors, which helps with their fine motor skills. So instead of just teaching the culture, we're also trying to teach them a lot of their skills growing up.
Yeah, awesome. It's so amazing to hear how you keep your own culture alive and share from your own culture, as well as empowering other Aboriginal people around Victoria to be able to share their own culture as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Through the workshops.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've written books too, brother, and you speak about the storytelling and the music and the art that takes place in the workshops. How do you think storytelling for influencing children's minds needs to be presented and done differently than when telling stories for adults?
Well, because they're such very young people, obviously it can't be something very overwhelming. So it's keeping it very basic. and also in their interests as well. It has to be something that they're going to be engaging with. So throughout the program, our ongoing program, we have a different theme each month, and we have a different book each month. So we've got a new theme for coming in next year, which is going to be Aboriginal science, which is going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that one.
I'd love to hear what that's about as well, Aboriginal science.
I wish I could tell you, but the idea is there, but we haven't created the actual program yet.
Yeah.
But I have some ideas in my head, and I think because it's the first program of the year, I'm thinking of, I don't know what, but having a plant or something where the kids can plant in the class from the first month of the year and watching that grow throughout the year. So when the educator comes, kids will be excited. Oh, look at it grow. Look how much it's growing. And that's just a little part of it. So, and the rest of it, I'm not too sure. So that's in the works.
A question for you on that.
Yeah.
A question for you on that.
Yeah.
Is sometimes people that love the equations and love to be able to prove things jump on board the science bandwagon. What about the spiritual side of plant growing or the environmental side? Sometimes I feel like science in itself is always trying to play catch up with the spirituality that is. And so can science in itself be a downfall as a negotiation principle, or a downfall when we're trying to see the truth of what is out there? Because science is always trying to catch up with country, trying to catch up with events.
That's a very good point. It's a very good question. The way I'm looking more at it is when we're talking about science, the meaning behind why they're growing the plants, the way they harvest the plants, all that kind of thing. So there's more than just a process of putting a plant in the ground and watching it grow. It's, what's under the ground. There could be, growing fruits, vegetables, all that kind of thing. So, all the harvesting side, there's lots of different things. Even when we're talking about backburning, like backburning's massive. Like that's huge. Now, a lot of people started to use backburning, which we've used in our traditions for a very, very long time. Now, all that kind of thing is the stuff that I want to sort of show on the program. There's actually a really good book I saw. School's got it, and it's called The First Scientists, it's called, which are the Aboriginal. Yeah, so I need to get my hands on that and have a look through it. And I think I can probably pull a lot of good ideas out of that. It was just something I thought, because we don't have a program in January, because January, a lot of schools are still away. Just returning back is low numbers, so a lot of services don't like to book during that time. Yes. But we've actually had some great feedback. I've thrown it up there and go, look, we've got to have an option, like for January, if you guys want to join it, it's okay. If not, it doesn't matter. Otherwise, we start in February, and the first theme that we have is symbols. So we do symbols, and the kids just learn about symbols. So it's the base, great way to start. Learn about different types of symbols that we have in our culture, what they mean, when do we use them, and how we tell stories through them and use them in our art. Then the next one is seasons. So we learn about all the different seasons. I teach the seasons through, because I'm Wotjobaluk man. So I'm teaching my seasons. I know a lot of the schools we go to, they follow the most of them are Wurundjeri country, so they follow the Kulin seasons, which they're still very similar. But I always like to teach my way, and that's what we encourage our subcontractors to do as well. But yeah, it's cool. Like each program, it brings something different to the table. The kids have something to look forward to. Instead of the teachers struggling to find ways to teach the culture without disrespecting it, which is probably one of the biggest things I always get from teachers. Oh, look, we don't know how to do it. Like, how are we supposed to teach the culture? I'm not Aboriginal. I don't want to offend people. I don't want to do it wrong. So that's one thing that we do help schools with. So delivering, the culture appropriately and correctly. So
when we speak about negotiations, I can imagine there have been some pretty intense negotiations with schools in terms of keeping the integrity of culture and fitting that within the needs of the schooling environment. How have you overcome some of those challenges, and what sort of negotiation strategies did you use to keep that cultural integrity?
I've found out that through the education department that they are allowing dot painting. which is fine. I spoke to an auntie, and she works in the education department. She's a CASO, and she said we've actually got the go ahead. I'm like, great. I'm like, awesome, fantastic. A lot of schools were so stressed out about it, using it and not wanting to disrespect. Yeah, and I think there's a few schools have also sort of stressed out about if I'm delivering a program myself and I'm not a Wurundjeri man, I'm a Wotjobaluk man, and I'm delivering it on Wurundjeri country. A lot of them are like, oh, well, are you allowed to be doing this? I'm like, well, I am. Like, I have got the program's been endorsed by Uncle Keith in the education department. And it's more about acknowledging, and this is where acknowledgement of country comes in, all that kind of thing. I always acknowledge where I am, no matter what country it is. I always say I'm teaching my traditions, my culture, my language. It's all mine. I do help them as well because they want to obviously use language which is from their country. I do help them that as well. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, brother, it's a really good answer, and I really appreciate, I'm sure our listeners appreciate as well, the way that you keep that in cultural integrity in all the work that you do. Are there also cultural principles when it comes to leadership and purpose that you lean on in being able to navigate the democracy of the education landscape, to be able to deliver your programs, to be able to lead classrooms full of children? Do you rely on cultural principles to ensure the best version of yourself is put forward as a leader? And if so, how do you do that?
So I'm always asking a lot of elders. I'm asking even land councils, all that kind of thing myself. So I'm what I sort of like as a leader, because I see myself as a leader when I'm in that class, because they do, not just the children, the teachers as well do ask a lot of questions in regards to the culture. If it's right to do things, just like how, for example, I said before about the dot painting, is it okay to do this? They do ask me a lot of questions about traditions. Why do they do this? Why do they use this for? And that's sort of my responsibility as a leader. I'm in there delivering this program. I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't confident. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have the permission to do so. I didn't have the back-in and guidance as well from a lot of elders. So they have put that when I got endorsed, that responsibility was put on me straight away. So not that I feel it on my back or anything like that. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. And I think it's actually brought the best out of me. I've learnt a lot about my culture myself, and I think that's made me into a leader without even knowing it. So I love it. It's such a rewarding thing just walking into that classroom, especially with the ongoing program that we have, seeing those same kids once a month. You build this great relationship with the children, with the teachers, and how excited they are. They want to tell you everything, Always, it's not always about the culture, of course, but it's like, I'm sleeping at my grandma's house tonight, or they're very open. They can be very open with you, and sometimes you go, I don't need to know that, but that's cool. Like, they want to tell me where they live, or they want to say, hey, you're invited to my birthday party, come join me, and I'm like, I can't do that, but I hope you have a good time. So, yeah, the question has put me on the spot because as a leader, and I didn't see that until now when you said it. Yeah.
And I appreciate when you explained the way that you've stepped into that leadership role.
Yeah.
Because many people, when they're called upon to lead, don't quite feel ready. But when we're motivated and fueled by passion for what we do and the cause, and for you it's bringing the cultural principles as part of the education, keeping culture alive through the journey, your motivation is so big and so strong that you naturally become a great leader to make sure that the outcome and the journey are achieved, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Exactly. Spot on with the passion. I think it's the passion, it brings the enjoyment of running these programs, and yeah, it's exciting. It's rewarding, and I love doing it. Yeah.
And so the kids that you're working with, are they both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal kids?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. There's a few like there's a few Aboriginal kids which the teachers always love to let me know who's Indigenous. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot more kids there which don't even know, and that happens. I've had a lot of kids, especially older kids, when we run holiday programs, like primary school kids. I had a girl come up to me. She's like, "My auntie's Aboriginal," and I'm like, "Your auntie? Is it your dad's sister or your mum's sister?" She's like, "Oh, my mum's sister," and I'm like, "Well, you're Aboriginal," and she's like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're Aboriginal," and she was just so excited and so passionate. And this is right at the end of the program, so I don't know if it's whatever we delivered made her feel like this is amazing, like, because I don't get taught this. And there's a lot of parents who've reached out to us. Hey, my kid's Aboriginal. They go to this service. They go to this kindergarten. How can I get your program run at our kindergarten so my kid can learn about their culture? And I'm like, well, get your kindergarten to reach out to me, and we can go from there. And it's happened a lot, which is fantastic. And that's also another thing that, it brings confidence to myself and my partner, that, we're doing the right thing. Our program's working. So, yeah.
And I love the way you're going out there through storytelling, music, art, and sharing powerful principles that are culturally based, showing how beautiful it is in terms of Aboriginal culture, in terms of your own culture. And to see kids that are really proud of being Aboriginal, to identify as Aboriginal, I think is absolutely a step forwards. Forwards in terms of seeing more appreciation for what Aboriginal culture really means at such a young age. I think that's really powerful there, brother. And when we speak about negotiations and negotiating a better future for mob, absolutely, who is the next generation? Well, that's the kids right there in schools. And so if we can get into that sort of environment like you're doing, shaping their minds, bridging gaps, ensuring that there's appreciation, respect, and an insight into the powerful principles of Aboriginal cultural ways, your own culture. I think that that's going to go a long way in terms of the journey for a better Australia for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the one thing we don't bring, because these kids are so very young, and they are that next generation, what we're talking about, the next generation, they're such a blank canvas. They don't know things that they hear in the news about Aboriginal culture. They know everything, all the bad things that people say, which we don't like. The past, what happened in the past, a long, long time ago. We don't bring that up. It's not what we're there for, because we're there to teach our beautiful culture. What's so amazing about it, like all these amazing tools, a didgeridoo, a ducky, boomerangs, fullermans, shields, axes, all these kind of things we bring to the program, kangaroo fur, mangrooks. The kids love it. And that's where I want that starting base to be. It does not get taught enough in schools. When I went to high school, I reckon we spent, probably being generous, probably a week on Aboriginal culture. And that's probably 1 hour a day. But you'll learn about other cultures for months and do essays on them, yeah?
Yes.
So this is why we want to get in there now, get in there first, before anyone else gets to them and, teaches them the wrong things. So, yeah.
It's awesome and it's powerful, brother.
Yeah. Cheers, bro.
I was wondering if you can share with me and also our listeners a story that's your own that you'd be comfortable sharing with us. I just would love to hear it, and I'm pretty sure that anyone else listening right now would love to hear it as well. So if you're comfortable, I'm just asking if you would want to share. I think we'd love to listen.
Yep. So I do. I've got one in mind. I actually got one in mind. There's this school that we go out to. It's a good start in Sunbury, and they have a few Indigenous kids there. And I only knew a couple of them, but there's a couple others which I've only just sort of found out. And this is what we're talking about. Kids actually starting to say, I'm Aboriginal too, and even the service was finding this out through the parents and stuff. There was this one boy, and he's on the spectrum, and my oldest daughter's on the spectrum as well. So you just know, like you can work really well with them because you've got that experience yourself and understanding. But I had this one boy, and each time I would be there, he was just drawn straight to me like a magnet. He would sit next to me, but no one else. Like, he would never do this with anyone else. Never felt this comfort. Always sit next to me, and then till I think it was one of our last visits, I was with him, and then he just started crying, and I'm like, "Well, why are you crying, mate?" He's like, "I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go. I've got no one to play with." And I'm like, "Geez, man, yeah, this is like making me emotional. I can get really emotional person." I'm like, "Oh, wow." And the lady there, who's the teacher in the class, she's fantastic. She's not Aboriginal, but she absolutely loves the culture. She's grown up around it, and she really brings it into the class, which is amazing. Her name's Jenny, but she told me, she goes, "He's Aboriginal, Cam. Did you know that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I never knew that." And they go, "He's Aboriginal." And this other girl came up to me and hugged me and started going, "I don't want you to go too." And she goes, "She's Aboriginal too. Them two are the only Aboriginal kids here today, and they've just drawn straight to you." They go, they don't want you to leave. And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, but it's just funny. I don't need anyone to really tell me who's Aboriginal or not. There's just this connection. I don't know how to explain it. You'll probably understand, bro. But there's this connection you just know straight away. I don't know. It's something that just tells you. I might be wrong, but there's this strong connection that you just can feel with some of the people that, your mob. I just know. Yeah. 99% of the time, all right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think that's just and that happens a lot with a lot of Indigenous kids that we work with, that they just get really drawn to you, and they look up to you. They love the things that they're learning, especially about their own culture. And I think that's just one story one thing that's happened to me, which stays in my mind, and I love to tell it because such a beautiful kid, and always love going back there to see him. So.
Absolutely. And it's so good that you do go back there and see him. That's beautiful to hear as well. And brother, I think it's really amazing. There's something magical in the way that mob knows who's mob. I've heard people speak before about these situations happening because of stolen generation, all of the separation and segregation that's occurred. There's a spiritual need for mob to be around mob.
Yeah.
And so with that need of connected spirituality that we share as Aboriginal peoples, I think that there's a beacon for identifying and for connecting and for embracing other Aboriginal people through our own identity, because we know deep down through our DNA that together is where we belong.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%, mate.
And going through that experience when you've got Aboriginal kids in the classroom who are saying to you, "We don't want you to leave," what do you learn from that kind of an experience?
That what we're doing is right. It gives me, the confidence that I'm teaching these kids, the right way. Besides just about the culture, just the connection, the building, the rapport, all that kind of thing. Our program's doing something. It may not be, like I said, to kids about the actual Aboriginal culture, but they're learning a lot of different skills. We've had kids where we started the program who would cry when we'll come in because they're so scared. By the end of the year, they're giving us hugs, they're giving us high fives. They're opening up. We've had kids who don't talk, and this is not just when we're there, like not even talk. Like they're so to themselves. It brings out a lot of different things, and it just gives us that extra confidence.
So good. If we've got an adult listening in right now, because most of our listeners are adults, but most adults know some kids, whether it be their own kids or could be the next door neighbour's kids or could be a niece, a nephew, they could be school teachers, who knows, right? Most adults know kids. And so if you can give a message right now that could be passed on to children through somebody that's listening to this and listening to you speak right now, what message would you like passed on to children that is a part of Aboriginal culture?
I'm thinking more like along the lines of respecting, understanding, being open. to let us in. We want to teach the children about the beautiful culture. We want to have some fun. We're not here to talk about the past. We want to move on. We want to move together as one. So we want to move on from what's happened. You can't change what's happened in the past, but we can learn, we can understand, we can grow. It's not just, it's just not the Aboriginal culture, it's all cultures. So, yeah.
Brother, your work is amazing, the way you go out there and educate and give kids the opportunity to value and appreciate and experience Aboriginal cultural principles from such a young age is powerful. And I love what you're doing. Keep what you're doing. And it's been awesome having you on the podcast as well and having this opportunity to connect and yarn. Something we ask our guests, and I'll ask you now as well, is people that are listening now, what's something that you would like to leave them with? What's
Yeah. I think it's just a thank you to allowing us to work, to work with the children. Like a lot of parents are doing such an amazing job. I know as myself with 3 children, times can be hard, but everyone's doing an amazing job just to, nurture your kids, let them learn. Thank you for giving us opportunity, as a business and myself, to come into the services, to go to events, primary schools, libraries, you name it, everything. So, it's to thank you for the ongoing support and the respect as well, because we've met a lot of fantastic people along the way. Indigenous, non-Indigenous, everyone's been amazing.
That's deadly, brother. It's been a great episode. I trust everybody listening into this one has got as much out of hearing Cameron and his insights when it comes to working with kids, sharing culture with kids, and the amazing stuff that he does through Little Wombats and the stories that he writes as well. Remember to press that like button, subscribe to Rolling Through Negotiations podcast so we can keep on bringing you amazing guests and fantastic episodes just like this one. Until next time, us.
Thanks, brother.